Hello everyone, this is Yoko. On this channel, I feel that information about what is happening in China is often not correctly conveyed to countries other than China, so I will be disseminating the information I have gathered in English. I'm getting information from multiple media, so I'd be happy if you could comment on the content of the video. Also, my native language is not English, so I use an AI speaker to create the voice to convey the information correctly. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel and support us. This time I will tell you about the food situation in China. In some parts of China, crops have been severely damaged by drought. On the other hand, there are reports that in other areas, too much rain has caused flood damage to crops. China's food problem is likely to become more serious in the future. It can be said that China is becoming a food importing country because it cannot secure enough food with domestic production, so it is becoming a serious problem. I don't think it gets a lot of attention, but there was some really big news for China recently. There is currently a war in Ukraine, but Russia has attacked Ukrainian ports and reportedly damaged 60,000 tons of grain. And this destroyed grain was reportedly destined for export to China. However, since President Zelensky made the announcement, it may include a strategy to worsen relations between China and Ukraine. I don't know if it's true, but Zelensky said the damaged grain was being stored for export to China. If this story is true, China buys grain from various sources, but in fact, it also procures from Ukraine. China and Ukraine are geographically far apart. In the future, if the amount of food produced in China will decrease, we will have to increase imports. I don't think this is a very unfavorable situation for the world as a whole. China is a country that not only imports, but also uses its position as an importing country to apply political pressure, so the world situation becomes unstable. A long time ago, during the Trump administration, pressure was put on the United States to stop importing grain from the United States because there were people involved in agriculture among Trump's supporters. China buys a large amount of grain, so suddenly stopping exports would be a blow to foreign producers and exporters. So if the government and the people do not have the correct knowledge, they will say things like, "Please don't provoke the Communist Party of China." The Communist Party aims to manipulate public opinion, so it is now harassing Japan by inspecting imported goods from Japan for radioactive contamination. If this happens, it will be a problem if Japan cannot export to China, so the Communist Party is aiming to raise voices in Japan, for example, to stop the flow of treated water. The Chinese Communist Party has been beating Japan for a long time, not just this time. If the Japanese government stops releasing treated water, we will tell the world that the Chinese Communist Party has stopped Japan's treated water. So while doing business with China is fine when things are going well, you never know when it will be used for political purposes. I think it's time for the world to recognize the risks of a dictatorship running over such a huge country. In general, trade should be conducted on an equal footing, so for example, if a country refuses to import from Japan, Japan will stop importing from your country. If we stop trading with each other, it will be a loss for both sides and we will not do it. For example, if trade between Japan and China suddenly stops, many people in China will be in trouble, but the Chinese Communist Party ignores such public opinion, so the conditions are not the same. The Chinese Communist Party can stop trade at any time without considering the convenience of the Chinese people, so if the transaction amount is small, there is no problem, but China is the largest customer with large amounts of food, resources, and high-tech equipment. And the risk increases. This is not just a problem in Japan, it is the same in America and Europe. It has become so preoccupied with short-term gains that it has put too much emphasis on the Communist Party's government, and it cannot suddenly distance itself from China. This time, it seems that a considerable amount of agricultural products in Ukraine have been damaged and exports to China have stopped. And what I think about the situation in Ukraine is that the war has been going on for quite some time. It is said that Putin is not in control of the Russian military, but the war continues. I'm sure there are various opinions, but I think the reason why the war is protracted is because the war is being waged in Ukraine, and the situation is one of defense. In order to win the war, the attack cannot be stopped without destroying the military bases inside Russia. If Putin thought he was absolutely safe, he would not voluntarily stop the war. It has been reported that Russia is at a disadvantage, but Ukraine also has many disadvantages. If we want to end this war as soon as possible, we need to either thoroughly invade or be attacked, and create a situation in which the country's chief executive is in danger. does not appear to be doing. That's why I think this war will never end. However, this is a story about Ukraine and Russia, and I think there is also the speculation of the West that supports Ukraine. I myself am against war, but I would like the war to end sooner rather than prolonging the war that has just happened. That's all for now. See you next time.